So judges, I do think this guy is guilty, but it's not my job to say what I think. I must take what you said, I must take what you said. I can't put my own things in there. And I hope people understand that's how the law works. It's not that the system has failed. The system is built to be like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Turn podcast.
Am I allowed to swear there?
In Sweden,
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
it's just sad when we start them
No, but-
becoming indoctrinated. Your view on me.
Hi guys, I'm Emilio Tobias and welcome back to another episode of the On the Contrary podcast. Thank you. I think we're doing well. I think we're progressing nicely. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Just a reminder, it's about disagreeing with one another and doing so in a cordial, not even cordial, don't be cordial, but in a robust way. Let's debate, let's argue, let's share ideas, let's think about things from different perspectives. It's not only about agreeing with one another. And the views that I express here may not be my own. A lot of the times it will be, but it may not be my own. Reason being, sometimes it's nice to look at stuff from other people's perspective, not only your own, and not only people that agree with you, and people that share your stance, and not to assume that someone with a different stance is evil or is a bad person. Don't assume that. You might still get to that conclusion if you analyze stuff or digest things in a good faith manner. People think good faith is about hiding and masking whatever this and the other. Or but it's maybe just them masking their own security, their own insecurity, and their inability to suggest that they might be wrong. So usually when someone is unwilling to explore and deconstruct their specific belief or stance in the thing, it's usually a sign of little faith in the thing they believe in. So then if you're like that already, you are not keen for discussion or debate or to improve your perspective in any way, shape or form. And the issues going on in the world today are the same ones that went on 100 years ago, are the same ones that went on 20 years ago, and are the same ones that will happen 100 years from now, just with different jargon and different people. And we will be long gone, and the new people debating these things will either have learned from history or just go through it also, just because they haven't seen it happen before. But anyway, why must these things always come with a thing like this? But we do it in the beginning so you can understand the point of this podcast and me sharing my views that sometimes I don't think people are seeing it, or many people are seeing it from that way. But yeah, what are we discussing today? So, this past weekend, Timothy Omotoso, a big church guy, televangelist, who's been in jail, I think since 2017. And jail is the place where you go when you are awaiting trial. Jail is not the place where you are when you get sentenced. That's prison. A lot of the times it's the same building, but there's jail and prison. So homie has been in jail for the past, he was probably there throughout COVID. Hectic. He was there throughout COVID, busy with trial for some vile, dirty-like accusations. We don't have to say the words, or else the videos get flagged. Okay. Had some vile things, accused of doing things with minors, accused of trafficking people, accused of racketeering, that his business is a criminal enterprise and it's used for, his business or his organization is used for criminal activity primarily. I think that's what racketeering is, or that's what they mean when they say you are running a racket. Now, long story short, Homie was acquitted of all these charges. Acquitted, found not guilty on, it was first 64 counts of these violent heinous crimes, and then it got dropped down to 32, but all 32 he was found not guilty. And he was not found not guilty because the judge thought he was not guilty. In fact, the judge says, I do think, subjectively, I do think Homie is guilty of a lot of these things. However, my own subjective feeling is should have no bearing on what she thinks should happen. I think it's a woman. On what she thinks should happen to on how the judgment unfolds. And she mentions that the prosecution and the mismanagement from the National Prosecution Authority, witnesses dropping out, key witnesses dropping out, prosecutors changing and chopping, the cross-examinations were done very poorly. They made a lot of mistakes, and Omotoso's side could prove reasonable doubt. Nah. So judges, I do think this guy is guilty, but it's not my job to say what I think. I must take what you said, I must take what you said. I can't put my own things in there. And I hope people understand that's how the law works. It's not that the system has failed. The system is built to be like that. The system is not the one that inputs information into it. The information that was put in is the problem. The problem is on the prosecution side. The other problem is sometimes the hysteria of GBV and all these women crimes against women, femicide, all these things. Sometimes the hysteria makes its way into the justice seeking places, and then it becomes an issue. I'll make another example. I'm seeing a lot of similarities to O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson also did a very, very vile crime. Vile crime. And he got away with it. Similarly to Omotoso, everyone believes that O.J. did commit those crimes. Everyone believes, including the judges in this thing, believe that Omotoso, O.J. Simpson did these things. But because either their defense was so good or the prosecution was so bad that they were able to get away with it with a reasonable doubt. And it's funny, I think it's like a motto or a baseline of modern, say modern, but I think this way of doing law and democracy and innocent until proven guilty is like a Greek Latin. It comes from there, and they were the ones that were able to master that this might be the best system to make people account for crimes or wrongdoing. But another thing in that sphere of stuff is that you would rather, and this is the law, and this is justice, this is modern justice from Latin, Greek times, you would rather let a guilty person go free than to make an innocent person go to jail. Now you must remember that's the priority. And because of that, some guilty people are freed because of a thing called reasonable doubt. And that is in the hopes that the number of innocent people going to jail is way low, or is at a very, statistically, is at a very, very low number. That's the way society is built as far as justice goes. But now see what happened to Omotoso. And I think what's about to happen to Omotoso. Omotoso, now just last week, has been arrested again on a separate crime. Separate crime, which was summer when he was in jail. His passport or visa had expired. His passport or visa has expired. And obviously now he needs to go back to his country. So now I can't figure out if he was, when he was found not guilty, he was somehow put straight onto a plane so that he can leave, and then he came back. Or he was just left to his own devices. Yo, make a plan for you to go back to your country of origin, which is Nigeria in this case. Seems like homie hasn't left. Either he's been trying to fix his papers or not. But now there's been a clear outcry from people that homie wants to go back to his country, because we all believe he did do it. He did do most of the things that he was accused of. So now, government or whoever is finding a way, which might seem petty. Breaking the law is breaking the law, don't get me wrong. But it's going to seem petty that we couldn't get you on this one, which is the more heinous one. Then we're going to look for a small thing that you did wrong in another aspect of your life, and then we're going to come down hard on you. This is what happened to OJ. OJ's life started spiraling out of control when after he lost all his endorsements, after being found not guilty. Everyone still believed he did do it, got away on technicalities and just poor defense. But OJ got himself into legal trouble. I think some people would say it's like a misdemeanor, which is like not a serious crime. It's a crime where you can be jailed for like maximum 12 months, or most of the time misdemeanors are just like put up to fines. You are not just fined. That's how small or tiny the crime is. Homie broke into his friend's house to steal back his own stuff. He got, how many years did he get for that? How many years? How many years did OJ get for stealing memorabilia? Google will fix the spelling of that one. Simpson was convicted of stealing sports memorabilia that he believed belonged to him from two men in Las Vegas in a hotel in 2007. He was sentenced to 33 years. Now, a lot of people do believe that those 33 years were ridiculous, but they really believe that the judge in that matter was punishing him for the unaliving of his ex-wife and her friend. Now, even then, I think now that the case is cold, and when people aren't so emotionally invested in anymore, we can agree that if a judge or the system does do that, punish you for a petty thing to make up for a serious thing that you got acquitted of, that is not how it should work. And we should not try to do that with Omotoso. It's difficult. Some people don't care. It's like, yo, you did it. We don't care about your feelings. But this is not about an individual. This is about what the system could do to anyone else. If they feel, it's like politicians going after each other, man, where they frame each other, or they've done stuff wrong together, and then it's like, yo, brother, now we're going to dig into your life and find the smallest thing you've done wrong. Where it's like, they can't get you fired from your job, or they can't stop you from having influence or power in whatever space you are thriving in. Then they're going to come down to hitting you with your TV license hasn't been paid for 2 years, which I believe they can somehow argue is a crime. They can blacklist you. They can do those type of things to you just because they couldn't get you on this thing. And then sometimes it's going to turn out that the person who no longer talk about Omotoso or OJ, you got acquitted of a thing, someone has falsely accused you of this, that, and the other, whether it's serious like assault, SA, fraud, whatever the crime may be. Someone falsely accuses you of that thing. And because they got the public on their side, you get acquitted, turns out you're framed, this, then the other. Now they're going to look for another small thing to get you. So the law is a crazy thing, but it needs to stay intact no matter how we feel. No matter how we feel. Because even like, it's such, I think, it's such wisdom. And it's good for the whole cause, believe it or not. that the judges said, guys, I believe this guy did it. But the defense did not question him properly. The defense probably, not the defense, the prosecution probably just felt that Omotoso's case is clear cut. They don't have to do much work. It's obvious that he did these things. The judge will see it. But no, bruh. When it's time to question. When it's time to invalidate stories and render them improbable or unlikely, do that properly. It's very hard. So when we try run courtrooms the way we run trials on Twitter, so when Twitter makes it into the courtroom where people get away with things like this, that's why sometimes it's important to stay level-headed. There's a space for irrational protest. It's needed. There's a place for violent protest. There's a place for riots. But at some point of when justice needs to be served, let's get rational, straight-headed people. And it's funny, we can't even blame the judge for finding him not guilty. It's really not the judge's fault, because that's how the law works. So they had to let him go on reasonable doubt because of a failure of the prosecution. But another thing is, we must not go after people after they've been acquitted of stuff, even though we know they did it. Not because it feels good to do it, but it's important for the preservation of society. Yeah, man, don't kill me in the comments for that. Let me know what you think. Don't make like I'm evil for saying what I'm saying. I'm on the side of justice, but we are debating about the modus operandi. That's all everyone's on the same side, guys. We are all just arguing about, what's this thing? How to go about it. O.J. Simpson, Timothy Omotoso. We all believe they did it, man. We all believe they did it. And there's enough evidence to show they did it. We just were let down by the people who were supposed to be on the side of the people. But okay, let's see. Let's take him back home. And if he goes home, are we still going to try to do an appeal or to redo the trial and what have you? But yeah, that's the episode for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the On the Contrary podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And then let's meet on the next video.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Contrary podcast.
Am I allowed to swear there?
In Sweden.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them becoming indoctrinated.
Your view on me.